and watch an innocent woman be put in shackles. We're not going to allow it.
So a couple of things that jumped out at me on that. A, he's done 520 installments on this story over the past 4 years. 520. And the first story that he did had over 500,000 engagements being a part of this. It really kind of speaks to the fact of how we are digesting things these days.
And it speaks to the fact that, just earlier this week, we've learned that social media is now the major way people hear about their news. It's more than the traditional media.
It is.
Social media coverage. The other thing that stands out to me in all of this is that we're still no closer to finding out who killed this officer.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we have a dead Boston police officer, and we still don't know how that happened. And it to my earlier point when we first started all this, after her comment, she probably shouldn't have said, no one has fought harder, because using my OJ comparison, remember OJ was going to all the golf courses to find Nicole and Ron's killer, because obviously it was someone who's on the professional golf circuit who he felt like killed Ron and Nicole, because every time they would talk to him, he seemed to be on a golf course. So OJ obviously had some behind the scenes. It's a golfer who did it. So sorry, not meaning to make light of this whole thing, but Karen Reed found not guilty. Man, there's just a lot that I'm intrigued by, that whole thing of what's going on. So it's Mike Elam sitting in for Mark Reardon today. We appreciate you being a part of the show. Sue is here with traffic. That was Fred, obviously, that you heard. Rock is over here working the controls for us, trying to get all this stuff done. We are going to have a conversation with Chad Perkins on the other side. Chad is state rep from District 40. He is also the House Pro Tem of the Missouri House. We're going to talk a little bit about the Missouri legislative session that just wrapped up. They even did their special session because, if you hate school, you want to go to summer school. So they brought you back to do a little bit more. We're going to get his talk or his thoughts on the session, both the regular session and the wrap up on the other side. It's Mike Elam in for Mark Reardon on the Mark Reardon Radio Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Traffic is not bad. Now, if you happen to be on westbound 70, it's a little bit slow between 79 and K, and then things open up. And 64 westbound, some moderate volume right around Hampton, and again, just west of Lindbergh at the Boone Bridge, and that's it. Southbound 270, mainly just moderate volume, and that's from Page down through the Clayton Road overpass. 55 is slow, and that's in the construction zone, especially at Bates. And if you're headed into Illinois, really no delays on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Brought to you by Amazon.
Day, July 8th through the 11th, you can get a great deal on a new foot spa, transforming you into the queen of kicking it.
Wait, this has bubble jets. Okay.
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Let me share a few words here about the Missouri Athletic Club because I love being a member. I'm in the middle of the Summer Racquetball League. We'll keep you posted on how that goes. Daughter was coming downtown on Saturdays to some swim training. Now, she swims in our neighborhood pool. She doesn't swim for the MAC, but the MAC coaches were like, girl, you need to swim with us. She got a little bit intimidated. That's okay, but she does train at the downtown location. Can have some great meals and adult beverages. They're always changing up the dining, keeping that fresh. They have some new folks in charge of some of that at both locations, downtown and west as well. We also have the Charitable Society for Children, which is an extension of the Sports Foundation that helps local charities. This year, it's Books for STL Kids, Butterfly Kisses Alliance, Kids Smart Tools for Learning. We're already taking nominations for next year's charities. So if you're an MAC member, you can go online and you can apply and put the application in right now. All of the information about the great things that the MAC does here in the St. Louis area, both downtown and out west, can be easily found at mac-stl.org today for the Missouri Athletic Club.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law. There's an evil new twist in the tragic story of baby powder and its link to ovarian cancer.
Recently uncovered documents reveal that talc can contain asbestos.
The same asbestos that we know causes mesothelioma.
Right, and ovarian cancer.
In the 1970s, the industry wrote its own rules, allowing Johnson & Johnson to claim that its talc was asbestos-free, as long as it contained less than 1% asbestos.
Of course, Johnson & Johnson helped write those rules. So while we're using hazmat suits to remove the asbestos from our homes, Johnson & Johnson was telling women it's safe for their bodies.
Unbelievable. So if you've used talcum powder for feminine hygiene and contracted ovarian cancer, call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
They've already won several large verdicts against Johnson & Johnson for women just like you.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH. That's 1-800-RX-WATCH or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Mark Cox here for my friends at Home Shield Foundation Repairs. When it comes to uneven concrete in and around your house, they can use their polyjacking equipment and level up your sidewalk, your driveway, even your basement floor. Matt Hayes, the owner, has shown me some incredible videos of erosion that can happen in your soil. But Matt can take care of that in a heartbeat. He's worked with a lot of my listeners, and we appreciate it. They offer lifetime warranties on all of their work and do waterproofing as well. Go to HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon, and I've been thinking about how big life changes like moving can feel a little overwhelming. But then I visited New Perspective in Weldon Spring, and let me tell you, it changed my view. It might change yours as well. It's a brand new senior living community in Weldon Spring where older adults can thrive, not just reside. They've thought about everything. At New Perspective, your loved one will enjoy chef-prepared meals, activities, state-of-the-art technology, and a welcoming community. Check out npseniorliving.com and schedule a tour today. New Perspective, a friendlier approach to senior living.
It's the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk. Mike Elam sitting in for Mark Reardon today. And to Terry, RDM, where is Mark this week? I don't know. I've been really busy with my life, and I haven't been able to keep up with Mark Reardon's whereabouts. Sue, do you? Is he saying where he's at in a secret location?
No, I believe he's local.
He's local.
But he's taking some time.
I thought maybe he was checking out the new flagpoles that they put up at the White House. You know, they got them at the front and the back.
Yeah, well, that is impressive.
Biggest ones ever. Never had them this big before. So there you go. They got new flags. They're tapered. I don't know what that means.
That's interesting.
Hey, obviously the Karen Reed thing we were just talking about, she was found not guilty. There was a lot going on with Israel and Iran. We are going to talk about that coming up in just a little bit with Steve Bucci, who is a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Before we get to Chad Perkins, here's a quick update. Here's the latest that Trump had to say from the White House just a little bit ago.
Mr. President, have you been updated on that?
No, we're having a meeting in an hour. Have a meeting downstairs in 1 hour. Yeah.
Mr. President, on Iran, if regime change does happen there, if the regime falls, do you have a plan for what you think would happen?
I have a plan for everything, but we'll see what happens. Got a ways to go. They should have made the deal. I had a great deal for them. They should have made that deal. 60 days we talked about it, and in the end they decided not to do it, and now they wish they did it. And they want to meet, but it's a little late to meet, but they want to meet, and they want to come to the White House. They'll even come to the White House. So we'll see. I may do that, but it's a shame could have been done the easy way.
Do you think the regime there could fall?
Sure, anything could happen, right? Of that, sure.
So we'll find out a little bit more about that coming up in just a little bit when we talk with Steve Bucci. In the meantime, we are going to talk to Chad Perkins, who is the Speaker Pro Tem of the Missouri House. Chad, how are you, sir?
Well, Mike, I got to tell you, I love listening to Trump do an interview, right? I mean, the guy is a savage the way he goes about things. Like last night, what did he say something last night? Like, the Ayatollah, we know where he is. He's an easy target. I'm not going to kill him, at least not yet. I'm like, what other president would ever talk like that? The guy is just a monster. And the guy doesn't play around.
I do love the part when they were asking him, what do you think about the Ayatollah's comments where he's threatening America? And he just says, good luck. I'm like, I love that. I love it. He's already said, to your point, we know where you are. If we want to get you, it's not going to be hard. I can kill you tomorrow. It reminds this. You'll love this, Sue. It reminds me of Princess Bride. You know, the dreaded Pirate Roberts.
That's right.
You know, sleep well, Wesley, I'll probably kill you in the morning.
And that's right.
That's kind of Donald Trump to the Ayatollah. Like, sleep well, I'll probably kill you in the morning. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But
that reference was inconceivable.
I don't think that word means what you think it does. Hey, man, I enjoyed hanging out with you at Lincoln Days up in Lincoln County on Saturday night. I always love that event. The folks up in Lincoln County are always so welcoming and so nice, especially for a guy from St. Charles to come up. And it's always a great time. But I wanted to have you on here because I wanted to talk a little bit about session. We don't have a big window here. We've only got, 6-7 minutes for us to catch up. But I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on how did session go this year? And did you get everything done that you wanted to get done? Because it sure felt like you got a lot more done this year than you did last year. You even went back for extra innings.
Well, Mike, it was, in my 5 years of being there, I think it was the most productive. It was the most conservatively productive session I've ever been a part of, right? We went into it saying we're going to do some things with Proposition A. And we did, right? We put it back on the ballot. We're going to do some things with Amendment 3.
And just real quick, for people who aren't up on what is Proposition A, for those who are following along at home.
Yeah. Proposition A was the one that basically said, oh, yeah, you can take off work whenever you want to. You don't have to tell your boss, and they can't fire you for it, right?
So all the conversation was about the minimum wage, and they really didn't talk about that part, did they?
No, that was the selling point, was minimum wage.
Exactly.
And then they throw in all these other things that made it really impossible to run a business. And people would ask me about it and talk about minimum wage, and I always said to them, well, you can't operate a business this way. And the fact is, the real minimum wage is zero. And if the business you work for closes down, you're not going to get paid at all.
Exactly.
So we did that. We made the necessary changes there that allows business to thrive, which ultimately is good for everyone. Amendment 3, of course, was that issue that was on the ballot last year, and they sold it as being a woman's right to choose, right?
Right.
And with that being said, though, it became the most liberal piece of legislation in the country, and the fact that it basically allowed for abortion up until birth. It had a lot of things having to do with transgender, gender affirming care, whatever that means. But people didn't realize all that, when that was in there, or at least a lot of the voters didn't. So we put it back on the ballot, and this time it only includes some things regarding the abortion issue with a lot of parameters on it. The parameters being rape, incest, the life of the mother, only up until a certain point in time. Those sort of things that obviously I don't love those parameters. So I would be fine with doing away with it altogether, but you got to get something passed on the ballot, right?
Right. There's something that you may want to do, and then there's something that you feel like the voters would actually do.
That's exactly right. And whether I like it or not, the voters last year indicated they wanted some ability to do so, right? With that being said, we could have passed something out of Jefferson City that said, okay, we'll just outlaw abortions altogether, put it on the ballot, and then it would likely fail. And for me, a win is not just some moral victory where you pass something out of the House and Senate, but rather when you pass it out of the House and Senate, you put it on the ballot, and then it passes on the ballot. That's a real win. And so we put something on the ballot that we think can win, that can make Missouri certainly far more reasonable than the atrocious Amendment 3 proposition from last year. And then I love it because the left says, oh, you're overturning the will of the voter. Well, how on earth is that? Because we're not actually doing anything other than putting it back in front of the voters.
You're basically giving them a second bite of the apple, if you will.
It seems to me as if the left is the group that's afraid of what the voter might say. So just put it out there in front of the voters, give them the opportunity to choose which one they like. If they prefer the way it is, they can keep it. If they would like to do it the way that we've suggested, then the people of the great state of Missouri have an opportunity to do that.
We're talking with Chad Perkins, who is from District 40 with the Missouri House of Representatives. He is also the Speaker Pro Tem. So you got called back. I've only got about 2 minutes left here. So
now,
you got
Mike,
called
I also
back.
want to point out real quickly, I sponsored the legislation along with George Caruso out of St. Louis County.
Yes.
That eliminated personal capital gains taxes this year also.
Which is huge that people. So you talked about this a little bit on Saturday night. Talk a little bit real quick about why people should care about that, because a lot of people think capital gains only matters to wealthy people.
Right. So it's 4.7% of your income. But the fact of the matter is this. If you have a retirement account, which most of us do, and we're not wealthy people, we just have this retirement account either through our job or because we've been putting a little bit away here and there over the course of our career. Well, it certainly will affect that. Or for anyone who's buying a home, that could certainly affect that, right? How much money you make when you sell that home. That's a real possibility, or anything of that nature. So I think it's good for all Missourians. Anytime you give Missourians the opportunity to keep more of their money, I think it's a good thing. People know how to spend the money better than the government does.
I think we would all agree with that, especially people who are listening to this radio station are going to share that opinion. Hey, tell me real quick a little bit your thoughts on special session. How did that go down, and how did the end result, how do you think that's going to play out in your opinion?
Well, it's an interesting thing, Mike. I, as you know, wasn't able to attend the voting time. We're having a child.
Yay,
and,
congrats.
Mom believed she was going into labor right then, that Tuesday night. So I left and we came back to SSM in St. Charles and County and out in Lake St. Louis. And as it turns out, she wasn't, right? We were only 34 weeks and they want to get you a little further along for the health of the baby. So I wasn't able to make it to the voting time. It's yet to be determined how that works out, right? It was a vote that was really hard for a lot of folks.
Right.
Ultimately, for me, I looked at it and said, well, just last year, the voters of Jackson County said no to it. Why would I saddle the voters in my district in Pike and Lincoln counties with having to pay that bill? The voters of Jackson County didn't want to do it. And, it seems to me like the majority of the benefit would go to the Kansas City area. So I was not supportive of the pieces of legislation. It did pass with, a fairly comfortable margin. So me attending that family health matter didn't really affect the outcome, but I wish it kind of would have.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And I heard Mike Kehoe say something that I appreciate, sort of the other side of the aisle, if you will, on this one. And that is, we in St. Louis can understand when we lost the Rams, we have this dome that is sitting downtown. Luckily, we got the Battlehawks to go play in it. But if we didn't have the Battlehawks, we'd have this big dome with nothing in it. And he brought up an interesting point on Scott Fawn's show where he was talking about if you lose the Chiefs and you lose the Royals and they go over to the Kansas side, you're not going to get another team to go play in there because they're just on the other side. They didn't even leave the market necessarily. They're just on the other side. And all of a sudden, Kansas City, Missouri is stuck with these two big, huge pieces of land that used to generate a lot of income for the state of Missouri. And now they're just big holes with nothing in it. And you're going to have to figure out, what are you going to do with that? And I thought, that's an interesting side of that I hadn't really considered. I don't know that it's worth giving the billionaires the money, but I understand that aspect of it.
Mike, I think the world of the governor. I think he's doing a tremendous job. I would suggest this though. Instead of picking out two businesses that would get that tax benefit, why don't we just write some legislation that would benefit every single business in the state of Missouri equally? I could certainly support that.
I'm with you. Hey, Chad, I got to run. I appreciate you taking some time. It's always great to talk to you. Good luck with the baby. I hope you have a healthy, bouncing baby very soon.
Thank you, Mike. Good talking to you.
That is Chad Perkins. He is the Speaker pro temp of the Missouri House. We are going to catch up on what's going on with the Iran-Israel war with Steve Bucci on the other side. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Mark Reardon today on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got some slow-moving traffic on the Illinois side. It's road work on 5570 eastbound. And it's really slow as you approach 255. Now, if you're headed into Illinois from the Missouri side, we are fine downtown. Westbound 40, though, lines up near Kings Highway out past McCausland. A little slow at 270. 70 looks great until you get out to about Bryan Road. It's slowing between there and Lake St. Louis Boulevard. And southbound 270, moderate volume there from Page down through Ladue Road, but even it extends a little bit beyond that, down through Doherty Ferry. And southbound 55 is pretty slow, mainly right at Bates. This report brought to you by United States Air Force Band of Mid-America. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic, 97.1 FM Talk.
Celebrate Independence Day with a free concert by the U.S. Air Force Band of Mid-America. July 2nd, 7 p.m. at Logan University in Chesterfield, showcasing patriotic music and more. Get free tickets at afbandtix.org. That's afbandtix.org.
Hey guys, of course you've heard ads for low testosterone, but I want to talk about Game Day Men's Health because Game Day really is a game changer, and they have an opportunity for you to get in right now for a free testosterone test. Testosterone Health optimizes energy levels, enhances sex drive. It restores vitality that maybe you haven't had in a while. And if you're chasing peak performance and you're trying to reignite intimacy or you just want to feel your best, this is when you head into Game Day Men's Health. And the appointment that they're offering you, it's a complimentary testosterone test. You go in, it's an hour visit in and out. Matt Lawrence has a great location in Chesterfield. They're also in Glen Carbon, Illinois, and in O'Fallon, Missouri. Within 20 minutes, they'll have some results back for you, and then you come up with a plan. And the plan could include a lot of different things depending on what your needs are. Maybe it's testosterone replacement therapy. Maybe it's something for medical weight loss. They have long-term ED treatments, a lot better than the pill that you may or may not have taken. So it's a personalized treatment plan. You don't even have to come back into the office. You can do the medicine at home. Get back in the game, guys, with Game Day Men's Health at GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim. And if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesideRD.com today to start your dream renovation.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The time right now is 3:36. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk. My name is Mike Elam. I get to sit in today, and I am tickled pink to be here to talk about all of the world going to hell in a handbasket and more. You like that, Sue, for my pre-sale there?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's funny. You just I'm just stuck on the screen every night. And I think Trey Yingst, by the way, on Fox News, is a rock star.
Interesting.
I love watching this guy. He is in the middle of everything. And another guy who is in the middle of everything, who is joining us right now, is Steve Bucci. He is a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. He is a military special ops analyst. Steve, thanks so much for making the time to join us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show.
You know, watching all of this that is going on, I am mesmerized by the just pinpoint accuracy that I'm watching Israel do and just systematically dismantle Iran. Should I be as enthralled as I am, or is this somebody or something that you watch and go, this is pretty impressive?
No, it is clearly impressive. They are at the cutting edge of their precision. Some of that is their incredible intelligence gathering capability, particularly against Iran. They know where everything is. And then they are able to use, Israel's kind of a high-tech civilization there in that country. Their tech is really good. And you can see the results that they are hitting pinpoint targets, putting drones through windows. They know that General so-and-so is taking a bath at the 14th floor of this apartment building, and they go in the bathroom window and take them out.
That was crazy.
That takes a ton of really good intel, and then a lot of well-trained, very disciplined operatives from the intelligence community and in the kinetic community, if you will, primarily their Air Force right now. So they are, they have defanged Iran. People are going, oh, but some of the missiles are getting through. And I'm saying, yeah, that's true, because the Iron Dome is not perfect. It's really, really good, though. And every missile that Iran has fired since that first night, it leads almost directly to them then eliminating another launcher within Iran. So, they can keep shooting if they want. All they're basically doing is painting their own bullseyes on their launchers and their facilities that the Israelis then say, okay, now we've pinpointed that one, take it out. So they're getting weaker and weaker every time they shoot back at Israel.
It seems like what you first saw when Iran first started retaliating and they were sending the ballistic missiles that you were talking about, I had always heard about the Iron Dome and was it David Sling and a few others that are part of that. And I thought that this would just shoot any kind of missile. But those were really, and help me understand if you would, those were really designed to go against Hamas and Hezbollah and the rockets that they were shooting in to really catch those quick responses. Shooting a ballistic missile, it takes a lot more, doesn't it? Because that thing is cooking at a much different velocity than what a rocket is going to be doing. So it makes sense that some of those are going to be getting through.
Well, but they have parts of their system. Now, when we say the Iron Dome, we're not talking about one system. We're talking about a network of systems that can shoot down, can detect, and then figure out where it's going to go, and then decide whether they need to shoot it down, and then shoot it down. Everything from mortar rounds, artillery shells, rockets, which are not guided. They just, they kind of aim them at big directions and then let them go. Short-range ballistic missiles that are aimed at specific targets, and all the way up to intermediate range ballistic missiles. But you're right, the bigger, faster ones are a tougher target. And if they come in, a bunch at a time, or if there's a barrage for a bit, then there's a lull, then they come at it again, sometimes they'll get through. And it's a tough task for the defenders. But boy, Israel is, not to make it trite, because people have been killed in Israel by those missiles, but they're really hitting it out of the park, defending their homeland and sending the message to Iran that stop doing this, you knuckleheads. It's not working, and we're going to keep spanking you every time you try and do it.
We're talking with Steve Bucci. He's a military special analyst and visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Steve, help me understand, where do you think this is going to go? What are the next steps in this conflict, and what role do you think the U.S. is going to play in this?
The next big steps, other than a continuation of the, getting every single ballistic missile launcher that Iran tries to use. And for that part, they don't need any help from us. Israel's got that. They've got air dominance over Iran. They will wear those down and basically get them down to nothing. The bigger issue, though, because the main purpose of this whole operation has been to remove their nuclear sites. Now, they've gotten a bunch of them. They've gotten the Natanz. They've hit some of the others, but there's still some that are deeper in their mountain ranges. Really, they're buried under some of their mountains. Israel does not have conventional munitions that can really get to those facilities. Now, they can hit tunnel entrances and things like that and make it a real pain to work and live there, and maybe even cause them to shut down for a period of time. But to really destroy them, the only thing Israel really owns to do that are nuclear devices. Now, nobody wants Israel to use those. I'm not sure Israel wants to use them.
Right.
They don't have, they have a finite number, first of all, so they don't want to use them if they don't have to. But it's also, that's a step up in the world that nobody wants to see that line crossed. The United States does have very large bunker buster bombs, which are bombs that you drop them, they hit the ground, and they penetrate really deeply before the main explosive goes off, so that you can actually destroy targets that are protected by, from normal munitions much further underground.
Hey, can you paint that for me a little bit? I've heard that, and I've heard them talk about these bunker busters, and they fly out from the B-2 bombers here at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. So we have a Missouri connection to this whole thing. But tell me a little bit about when that bomb hits, when it hits the ground, how far down would you expect that to go into the earth before it actually explodes? What's an expectation?
It's probably further than most of us think, but it's a classified number.
Gotcha.
So I really can't talk about it.
It's all good.
They'll get things that the bad guys think are perfectly safe. And we've developed these over the years because we don't want to necessarily use nukes. Nukes were always the go-to solution when someone had built a facility like that into a mountain. And different countries have done it. The Soviets did it. The North Koreans do it. The Albanians, I used to live in Albania. When the Albanians were under the communists, they did it in several places. And I've been to some of those facilities, and I got to tell you, it's like something from a bad movie. They had big giant blast doors, and it's all stone tunnels down into the mountain to the facilities. The Iranians have been using those for their testing and development and manufacture of their ballistic missiles, and as we believe, some of their attempts at getting nuclear warheads. So we can give those munitions to the Israelis. They don't have any B-2s. The B-2 is the ideal platform for delivering those. We're not going to give them B-2s probably, but this may be a thing where we fly a couple of your B-2s out of Missouri over there with their payloads. They drop the bombs, they take them out, and they fly home, and we don't talk about it. Or as I say, they could loan them the aircraft or the munitions as well. So there's a couple of different ways they can do it. I do not foresee the United States putting any troops on the ground beyond the air defenders that are there already with some of the missile defense capabilities that we've given them. That is an augmentation of the whole network of missile defense systems they have. Some of you mentioned the Iron Dome David Sling, the Red Arrow. They come up with cool names for their systems.
They do.
Too.
It's very neat.
But it's I don't think we're going to see any more than that. I think we will probably continue to help them with intelligence, with detection of attacks from Iran and other adversaries like the Houthis and people like that. But they're getting help from a lot of countries now. You know, the Jordanians shot down some drones. The Saudis have allowed the Israelis to go over their airspace and protect themselves from there. Keep in mind, the Israelis are not the only ones in the Middle East who have a beef with Iran.
Right.
There are lots of Arab countries, particularly the Sunni Arab countries, who consider Iran a far bigger threat to them and their interests than they ever think of Israel or anybody else. So there's a lot of countries there who are at least rooting for the Israelis and on the side providing various types of support besides the United States. And, you know, look, Iran has made this bed, the Iranian regime, not the Iranian people, has made this bed. They're going to lie in it. A lot of them are buried underneath it already. And some of those other leaders are going to continue down that path because they're fanatics. They are true believers. And they really believe theologically that the destruction of Israel and the destruction of the United States will trigger, you know, their version of Islam's apocalypse. And so they think all this is just fine as long as they win in the end. I think that's a pipe dream. And we should all be praying that it's only a pipe dream because these are bad things. So this is serious stuff, but the good guys are winning pretty handily right now.
Well, Steve Bucci, we appreciate you making some time and sharing your expertise with us today. Obviously, there is a whole lot going on, and it tends to change by the minute. We get more and more of these updates. So thanks for your expertise today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
That is Steve Bucci. He is a military special ops analyst. He is a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. We're going to talk more about this as we go forward. My name is Mike Elam. Getting to hang out with you today in place of Mark Reardon, who is out in places unknown, just because I don't know. That's how this is working. It's the Mark Reardon Show. Thanks for listening. 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, I'm just looking at an accident eastbound 6440 at Mason. It's really close to Mason, between there and 270. So I thought I would look it up and send out a tweet of it or post it on X or whatever we do now. But it's blocking the two right lanes. Now, of course, that's going against rush hour, but there's still a jam behind it. We've also got slow-moving traffic westbound on 64. Anywhere from Kings Highway out through McCausland, some moderate volume at 270. 70 westbound, a little slow at Adelaide, but it's not bad. And slowing again at Highway K and also at Wentzville. Southbound 270, slow pockets from Page down through Doherty Ferry. 55 is a little slow at Bates. Now, on the Illinois side, we're fine on the bridges, but eastbound 5570 is jammed at 203, and that's because of road work. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Cash for Clunkers is back. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200. It's cash for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
You know, Thomas Elbig and his nephew, Bob Kershaw, Bob's wife, Tammy, they're the official financial planners of this show, and they can help you. They offer services that are a little different. Their strategies are different. We would argue that they are better than some of the traditional brokerage firms out there. They can help you in three different ways. how to grow, your assets to make sure you have enough money in retirement, wealth management, annuities, investments, IRA and 401k rollovers. They can teach you how to protect your assets. They have life insurance, tax efficient strategies. We still don't know all the implications of the tax situation with, the big, beautiful bill moving forward. Long-term care strategies. And then IRA legacy planning is something you can do as well. They offer all of that and more. The secret that they have, a little different than the other places, is safely linking to the market, which is why they can say they've never lost a client a dollar of their principal. So check them out. By the way, they know that there's skepticism out there. Get with the team one-on-one. It's easy. You call 314-993-9494. You go to the website, Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com. Check them out today. Tell them that we sent you over, retirementkey.com.
Many of you know that my inspiration for becoming an accident attorney was my brother Tim, who was rendered a quadriplegic at age 18. I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was or what they did, but I soon did. Tim was treated terribly by the insurance company, and I became enraged. It was a constant delay and deny. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Tim later worked with me for 27 years. Last year, my hero died at age 65. You can see my eulogy for him by visiting mybrothertim.com. He was one hell of a man. Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world, and our clients are treated the way I would want my family to be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, nobody is a nobody and everybody is a somebody. If you need our help, visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer. See you soon, Tim. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Get ready, St. Louis. The Cubs are coming to town June 23rd through the 26th. The Cardinals host baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium in a series that always delivers. The Chicago STL rivalry is legendary, and the energy in the ballpark will be electric. It's the perfect way to spend a summer day or night at the ballpark with passionate fans and nonstop action. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/tickets.
Hey, this is Sonny Gray, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Catch a Cardinals game on your next date night or friends night out. Whether it's love in the stands or laughter with your crew, nothing beats ballpark vibes under the lights. Cold drinks, great eats, and Cardinals baseball. Check out Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium and enjoy happy hour price food and drinks all game long. Every Friday home game. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com and make memories that go beyond the scoreboard. Busch Stadium, where great nights begin.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Michael Watley, chairman of the Republican National Committee.
If the Republicans in the House and the Senate do not get this bill to President Trump's desk, it will be the largest tax hike in American history.
The Mark Cox Morning Show, weekdays from 5 to 9.
It's the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk. Mike Elam sitting in for Mark today. Man, there was a whole lot going on. If you haven't heard, if you've been following the Karen Reed trial, that case has been going on now, for 4 years. I can't believe it's been happening that long. She was found not guilty today. She did get a drunk driving conviction and got a year of parole on that. So now we're going to have to, I guess we'll turn the page and the saga will continue to find out who killed Officer John and what happened to him. She was claiming that she was being framed. Obviously, the jury thought some of that was true and decided to acquit her. So huge crowds being a part of Karen Reed there in Boston and all coming out to support her. Iran and Israel just keeps going on. I was talking about Trey Yingst, and that guy is really just a rock star. We had a quick little soundbite of him. It gives you an idea. Go ahead and hit that, Rock. It starts with that award. This guy's
Right
hearing
now,
this all the time.
There are ballistic missiles being fired at Israel's second largest city of Tel Aviv. Currently, missile defense systems are working to shoot down the incoming fire. We are going to take some cover here as this unfolds. You can see in the distance interceptor rounds coming off, trying to shoot down. Pull it off the tripod. And let's move inside.
I didn't
The
realize
flash
how
there in the
long
sky,
he has been
explosions
doing this.
overhead.
But he has been covering this for Fox for 7 years that he's been over in Israel. I mean, travels around the country. But
Wow.
I know. But just watching this guy reminds me of the Gulf War back in the 90s when you had those guys from CNN
Yeah.
who were up underneath desk and all that kind of stuff. Hey, next hour, Sue's News is going to happen. One of my favorite segments that we have on this show. We're going to talk to Congressman Bob Onder from Missouri's 3rd Congressional District and the price of fireworks. You could have some sticker shock when you get to the fireworks tents this year. We're going to talk with Chris Sanders about that, of Powder Monkey Fireworks. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Mark Reardon today on the Mark Reardon Show at 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Watch out for an accident on eastbound 6440. It's just past Mason. So if you are traveling in that area, there is a jam behind it. It's right now kind of on the other side, not quite back to Maryville Center. Now, other than that, it's not terrible. But westbound 70 out of downtown was slowing, and it's really close to Adelaide, or maybe as you approach Shreve would be a better description. And it could be a stall or an accident there that just hasn't been reported. 70 westbound, moderate volume at K and at Wentzville. And we've got westbound 40, moderate volume, Hampton out through McCausland, a little slow at the Boone Bridge, and then again right at the 70 split. Eastbound 70 is showing some slow-moving traffic. As you approach Wright City, look for an incident there. Southbound 55 slowing at Bates. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. This report brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning on 97.1 FM Talk.
While you might not give a hoot about this week's space launch, you sure as sunshine care when your AC goes down. Well, good news, a Jerry Kelly per-producing tune-up is just 98 smackers right this very moment. $98.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Zero Res Carpet Cleaning loves me as a client because I have to call them into service quite a bit. Now, one of the reasons is we like to call it the Reardon Zoo. We got a puppy in the house right now. We are not having the carpets cleaned every other day. But when it comes to the the potty training and everything, once we feel we're in a good spot, we'll get Zero Res over to make sure that everything's cleaned up efficiently. Maybe you're someone who thinks that vacuuming is an adequate way to keep your carpets clean. It is not. I will tell you that. They have great summer savings right now. And here's the offer when you mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129, $75 off your air duct cleaning. Air duct is really important, especially now. If it's in your air vents, it's in your carpet, it's in your other surfaces. They can do your upholstery, your area rugs, all of those things. Getting the embedded nasty dirt, dander, bacteria out of your home the right way. Again, 3 rooms of carpet clean this month. When you mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk, $129 is where it starts. $75 off the air duct cleaning package. Visit ZeroResSTL.com or call 314-474-2020. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res. Make sure you mention my name.
KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
Brady. At her retrial in Massachusetts, the jury finds Karen Reed not guilty of second-degree murder and manslaughter in the death of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, a police officer whose body was found in the snow outside another officer's home, where prosecutors say Reed hit him with her car and left him to die. The jury heard conflicting testimony on whether O'Keefe was hit by a car, as the defense argued police planted evidence. The jury also acquitted Reed of leaving the scene, but convicted her of driving under the influence. A crowd outside court chanting, "We freed Karen Reed."
These folks out here really felt a connection to Karen Reed, wearing her favorite color, the pink color. They would always put up the sign language of "I love you" every single day. And when you talk to the locals here, they say that they felt aggrieved, that there was an injustice here, that the police overstepped and framed Karen Reed to protect one of their own.
Fox's Brian Yennis at the courthouse in Dedham, where Reed made brief remarks before leaving.
No one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have, and my team.
Also thanking supporters for backing her emotionally and financially. The verdict comes on the 4th day of deliberations in nearly a year after the first jury deadlocked. President Trump says again it's not too late for a nuclear deal with Iran, and that Iran wants to negotiate.
They do want to come and see us. They want to see me in the White House. That's a big statement.
but it's very late.
Iran denies seeking a White House meeting and says it won't negotiate under duress as the supreme leader warns the U.S. not to join Israeli airstrikes. President Trump says he hasn't made a decision. Some lawmakers want to require congressional authorization. Just getting reports the U.S. is now beginning to evacuate non-essential diplomats and their families from the U.S. Embassy in Israel. America is listening to Fox News.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
An interesting weather day as a cool front slowly moves our way. Partly to mostly cloudy skies, windy and humid with scattered showers and thunderstorms. Best chance for any scattered severe weather will be going through the afternoon. 88 for the high. Any scattered showers and thunderstorms end during the evening. 69 for the low. Thursday, sunny and 85. Friday, sunny, 91. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Have you ever had a wedding reception in your yard or scheduled a party, birthday party, or whatever kind of party at your house, and during the party or a couple, 3 hours before, notice your air conditioner is not working and it is the hottest day of the year? Or have you come home from a vacation and your house is baking? My experience has been that's when it will break. It just happens that way. So if that does happen to you, or say, again, you don't need to have a party or you don't need to be baked. But if your air conditioner breaks and you need to get the cold air back in your house, call me, Bart Inman. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Again, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. It's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. You're listening to the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
So it's fun to go back in time and try to see a little perspective. What was money like then? What is money like now? I mention that only because the Fed decided to hold interest rates where they are. Trump, by the way, is questioning and started calling the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, too late Powell, is what he's calling him, because he's saying that he should actually cut the interest rates. And Trump thinks maybe He should be on the Fed now. Cut
I call
37.
him too late, pal, because he's always too late. I mean, if you look at him, every time I did this, I was right 100%. He was wrong. Maybe I should go to the Fed. Am I allowed to appoint myself, Doug? I don't know. Am I allowed to appoint myself at the Fed? I do a much better job than these people.
He would do a much better job than anybody. I love that. And he just calls him out on a regular basis. I was talking about the money thing part because a story just came out that the Buss family, who was on the Los Angeles Lakers since 1979, is going to sell the majority interest of that.
Woo!
So who is Mr. Walter Rock? That
Mark Walton.
Walton.
Walter. Walton. I'm getting
Yeah,
rich people confused. Sorry,
he's not
a Walton.
He's not a Walton.
Walter is the owner of the Dodgers.
Oh, the
so
Dodgers.
they know
okay.
him pretty well in LA already.
So Dr. Jack Kent Cooke used to own the Lakers, and Jerry Buss bought the Lakers from Dr. Cooke in 1979. Sue, how much do you think he paid for them? In 1979. Now, mind you, he not only bought the Lakers, he got the Lakers that included the Los Angeles Kings and the Los Angeles Forum.
Wait, he got it all.
He got the trifecta. Now, what do you think he might have paid in 1970? Now, mind you, this is so Magic Johnson wasn't there yet. Right? So Magic Johnson came, he and Bird
the NBA
graduated
finals,
in 79.
The NBA finals are on tape delay at this point.
Okay, that's a good point.
So Showtime didn't start
we get
until
the Forum,
1980.
The
Right.
Lakers and the Kings.
Right.
How about $15 million?
Well, that would be amazing. But I was amazed at $67.5 million.
Oh my, that's outrageous.
That's what he paid.
How did he? That is outrageous.
So I haven't seen. Have you seen what the selling price of this
I haven't seen
majority
the
stake?
price.
It's
but
got to be the bees.
It was.
I would think so.
It was estimated in a Forbes article that they were the third most valuable NBA franchise, worth over $7 billion.
$7 billion.
Now, is this just for the team? We're not doing the Forum. We're not doing the Kings. It's just the team.
I think it's just the Lakers because it said that Jeannie Buss is going to continue to serve as her role as the Lakers governor. And I'm assuming governor is like the president of the organization.
It's who still supposedly runs the actual basketball side of the organization and actually like runs the company.
So she's going to stay.
Yes, they do not own their arena. So it's just the team.
Okay. So, yeah, I have no idea how much money that's going to be. And I can only imagine when we were talking last hour to Chad Perkins, and he was talking about he actually got a bill in for capital gains to be deductible. Can you imagine the capital gains from $67.5 million that you paid for this team? And now you're going to probably get a few billion. Wow. I remember years ago.
Not too shabby.
This is probably 3 years ago or so. I was talking with former Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer, who Bob Onder has that seat now. But Congressman Luetkemeyer was talking about how he was in a meeting in D.C., and they were talking about the price of programs and where they were going to allocate money. And he said, this is the only place in the world where they were getting confused, where they were saying, wait, is this millions or billions?
Oh, my gosh.
Only in Washington, D.C. can you have that conversation and you get confused of, wait, is this 643 million or 643 billion? What the heck? It's the taxpayers' money. Who cares? That's the Washington motto, I think. Hey, my favorite part of the show is coming up next. Bob Onder is going to join us. The aforementioned Congressman Onder is going to join us later on this hour. Chris Sanders is going to join us. He is the CEO and founder of Powder Monkey Fireworks. There was a story in the Post-Dispatch, and he was talking about the fact that we have all these tariffs that have been in place now. And where do most of our fireworks come from? Would you like to guess? China.
Sorry, my mic wasn't on.
China.
Sorry, yes.
So that's had a big effect on the ability to get to fireworks this year. So we'll talk to Chris about that a little bit later on. We will talk to Sue on the other side of this break and my favorite part of the show called Sue's News. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Mark Reardon today on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
I'll tell you what, it's not a bad commute right now, but we do have a couple of issues. Westbound 70, a little bit slow out of downtown, and eastbound is slowing at 141. Now, westbound 6440 is slow go, but it's just approaching Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound, we still have that accident, and it was in the right lanes just past Mason. But there is a jam. They're now calling it an accident on westbound 44 before you get to Lindbergh, and there's really a stack up behind that. Other than that, we look pretty good, except on the Illinois side, where eastbound 5570 is a slow go at 255, all due to road work. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Brought to you by Amazon.
This Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th, you can get a great deal on a new foot spa, transforming you into the queen of kicking it.
Wait, this has bubble jets. Okay.
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
You may have heard me talking about James Hardie Fiber Cement Siding. It is a great product. It's one of the most popular types of siding in the U.S. Very durable. It looks beautiful, and it's a popular choice for premium siding. And James Hardie is the most popular. And Banner Construction here in St. Louis can install it on your home. We always try to emphasize that these are big projects. It could last for days, if not weeks. You want to make sure you go with the right contractor. I always kind of throw this story in. I remember sitting down with Bill Kaufman and Sam P. at a lunch, and they said someone had called them because a Hardie project had gone awry, and it wasn't their project, it was somebody else. They were asking for help and to rescue them out of that situation. You don't have to make that mistake, because if you get with Banner Construction, it's a free in-home design consultation. They'll easily explain the process, why the Hardie product is so great. They also specialize in Pella windows. Pella replacement windows are fantastic, very energy efficient. Banner is also looking for carpenters right now, so if you are an experienced carpenter, you need a gig, get with Banner today. 314-569-1050, the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
We've been here 30 years. 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Do you know about the true crimes that inspired a Bruce Springsteen album? Or the murders AC/DC was blamed for? How about Taylor Swift's Violent Stalkers? Or the suspicious deaths of Brittany Murphy and River Phoenix? These stories and more are told in the Disgraceland podcast, hosted by me, Jake Brennan, every Tuesday, where I dive deep into subjects from the dark side of music history and entertainment. So follow and listen to Disgraceland on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
So, you know, the interesting thing I found out about Lenny Kravitz there, is my wife really likes Lenny Kravitz.
Well, yeah.
You know,
So is she breathing?
It's it's one of those kind of things where So a lady asked earlier on the chat line. She said, "So Mike, how much weight have you lost now?" And I'm down over 75 pounds.
Okay, but how did you do it? She said.
Oh, I cheated. I used medication.
Okay.
So and it just killed my appetite. So I just quit eating. So I'm hoping one day to get to Lenny Kravitz beauty. But
I have bad news.
Yeah, I don't.
He works out.
Wow. So
yeah.
You have to work out?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I did just get a membership to Club Fitness. So
Okay.
I'm gonna start.
Okay.
I'm gonna shout out to Eric Schreierman, who's the CEO of Club Fitness. And Eric and I had a conversation, and he's going to help me try to. Hey, you've lost a bunch of fat boy, so it's time to actually put some muscle on. So
I have
I'm
a question,
hoping to do
Mike.
that. Yes.
What does one do if you have done that? Because there are other people in this building who have done that. What do you do when you go off of it?
I don't know. I haven't gone off of
Okay.
it yet.
I
So
hear it comes back.
So don't speak that into existence, Fred Bottomer, Hall of
That's
Famer.
what the people say.
We're not doing that. So my doctor has told me he wants me to be on what they call a microdose. So it's like just a very little bit of it.
Okay.
Because he claims the medication actually has other benefits over and beyond. So
Right.
I've noticed that my cholesterol level has dropped a lot. Not to make this all about Mike Elam, but it should always be about Mike Elam. But right now, it's all about Sue's News.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment. It's not clear messaging. No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Well, it's several national days. It's National Go Fishing Day, National Splurge Day. Oh, and National Want to Get Away Day that Southwest Airlines must have finagled.
It sounds like it.
Right?
This
How do you
sponsored
do
by.
that? Oh, gosh. And on this day in history, I don't know, flashbacks like this when you think about these things. And this is 25 years ago. 25 years ago. So it's the year 2000. That is when little Tiger Woods won the U.S. Open for the first time. And remember, he did that by 15 strokes.
Oh, I remember.
And
He
we
just
were all
killed
like,
everybody.
oh my gosh, it was awesome. And he won it again. Let's see, 2 other years, 2002 and 2008.
Oh, so he took a little time off in between.
Mm-hmm.
So, can't win them all back to back.
And I usually don't do birthdays, but this is a big one. Sir Paul McCartney turns 83 today. And
83.
Here's just a little bit of what all he has done.
1, 2, 3.
She loves you, yeah. It was a day tripper, paperback writer. Hey Jude, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Get back to where you once belonged. Back in the USSR. It was 20 years ago today. Sergeant Pepper taught the band to play. Live and let die. Yeah! For the band on the run. Baby, I'm a man. Baby, I'm a lonely man who's in the middle of something. Say it's your birthday. Hey! Sing it to you.
83 today.
Yeah, just a few things, Fred.
Let me tell you, Sue, that was probably the best montage I've heard in so long. That was amazing.
That was not me putting it together.
What?
Nope.
It was you finding it.
It was me finding it.
Nice job.
That's half the battle.
But yeah, it was too. I thought so too, Fred.
Yeah, that
'cause
was very well done.
At first, I thought, well, just play Blackbird because I love Blackbird.
Is that
But
your
then,
favorite?
I don't know if it's my favorite,
I like
but
the
I really
guitar,
like it.
The squeaking of the
It is
guitar.
cool.
on Black
Yeah. And then I thought, gosh, 83. And look at all this stuff. I should play the montage. Anyway, 83. They even say Beyonce recently thanked him for Blackbird, saying, every time I sing it, I feel so honored.
She sings it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I guess it's on her latest album, Cowboy Carter, if you want to hear her version.
Yeah, we're not going down that because Mike will get triggered on the whole Beyonce country thing.
All right, we don't want to trigger you.
I'm with George Strait. She ain't country. She never has been country. She's never going to be country. And I don't know why she got a country music award, but
well, this is today. You know?
It is.
Yes,
Now-
that's a segment for later today.
Yeah, there you
we'll
go.
talk about
There
that
you go.
later. Mike's pet peeves.
Fred found this story yesterday, and I didn't get to it, but they are talking about Dr. Salvador Plasencia, who will plead guilty to 4 counts of distribution of ketamine with a maximum sentence of 40 years in prison. He was the one involved with Matthew Perry's death.
I was going to ask that question.
He was introduced to Perry by his assistant in September of 2023 and allegedly taught the assistant how to inject him, Perry, with ketamine. And Dr. Mark Chavez, who ran a ketamine clinic, allegedly submitted a bogus prescription to secure it. And then Plasencia obtained the ketamine for him. So it was like a cooperation of all these people to get it done. And then Perry's assistant learned how to inject it and left vials of the drug for Perry to use at home. It's just a mess. And there's a big major ketamine dealer allegedly provided the dose that killed him, Perry, and he's facing multiple charges. So it's just not good.
We listened to his book. I got the book on Audible. And we were listening to his book, Jennifer and I.
How was that?
It was very good. But what was weird is we had downloaded it when it first came out. And we got into this thing to where when Jennifer and I are on trips and we're driving, we'll listen to audiobooks.
Yeah.
And we normally will do like mysteries and stuff. So we listened to this one. His story is heartbreaking of just how many times he fell off the wagon. But if you want to know between how much he drank and how much he did in drugs, he was doing, I think at one point he said 87 Vicodin a day.
What?
I can't imagine functioning on 87 Vicodin. But he said, if you watch Friends, when he was bigger, he was drinking. When he was super skinny is when he was doing the drugs.
Yeah.
But while we were listening to the book is when he OD'd.
Oh, you're kidding.
No. So while we were in the process of listening to that, he died while we were listening to the book.
87 Vicodin.
I know it. The amount of drugs that he went through and just his life story is really amazing.
I wonder in Hollywood, how many doctors have to deal with their star patients
doing this sort of
demanding
thing
or asking for special privileges?
It has to be common.
I'm sure there's a cottage industry of these doctors to the stars that are helping them all just get all their drugs.
Oh, that's terrible.
It is. Kind of reminds you of the Michael Jackson story.
It does, kind of.
Yeah.
May, by the way, was the first month ever that more people watched TV on streaming than on cable networks combined.
Really?
On cable and networks combined. So streaming has officially taken over 2025. Cable and networks combined is pretty substantial.
It's a lot. I mean, what was the Bruce Springsteen song, 57 channels and there's nothing on?
Right.
And it's like 557 channels and there's nothing on.
And you just wonder, I think mostly the kids, they don't, just can like to stream whatever they want when they want it. And it's those of us who are any older who think, well, is whatever on? Is it on at this time?
I will tell you, we live in an on-demand world
We really do.
So we used to, at my full-time job at i3, selling broadband, we also sold television in a lot of our markets. And we have gotten to where we don't even offer television anymore because 9% of people who were signing up for broadband signed up for a television package because they started streaming. And people want to stream what they want, when they want, how they want, from wherever they want.
Yes.
And it's not appointment TV anymore. That stuff is gone. And younger people don't even care to watch like this is on right now. The only exception to that would be sports.
Yeah.
Because Rock's got to watch the game when the game's on.
That's absolutely true, which is why Amazon is going after some of these NFL games so that you will sign up and watch those. What were you thinking, Fred? Are you a streamer?
No, I'm not a streamer.
Really? You watch
no.
something on the Netflix?
He's a dreamer, not a streamer.
Oh, good point. I hadn't thought of that.
There you go.
Kraft Heinz has announced they're removing artificial food dyes from all of their products within the next 2 years.
I thought it was interesting when they said, well, 95% of it has already been done. Sure
Uh-huh.
it has.
Baloney.
Sure it has. No.
When I read this, it says around 10% of them have color additives. I thought, that is the biggest lie I have possibly
Right.
ever heard.
No,
But
we took all that out years ago.
they said that they nixed them in Kraft macaroni and cheese. Remember that bizarre yellow color that doesn't
Yes.
exist in nature? I haven't eaten that in the last. Does anybody know? Is it
was
just
like yellow
milder?
orange.
Yeah. It looked like a Cheeto.
It did.
Like a Cheeto
Very much
color?
so. Yeah.
And I guess they've taken it out. Anybody who has eaten that, can you tell me, is it just a mild yellow now? I don't know.
I haven't eaten that. My wife she does the macaroni shells in the Velveeta, which
Oh, I
is
used to
so
eat that
much
in college.
creamier
Oh,
and
my
so good.
goodness.
We got rid of the Kraft a long time ago.
I'm not sure that Velveeta is a natural color either.
I didn't say it was
Uh-huh.
good for you.
By the
I
way-
just said it's creamier.
That's fair.
That's it.
Kraft Heinz said they've been using turmeric to give it that familiar yellow color since 2016. But I used
So
to
you don't
make
have to
that
buy the
stuff.
supplement now.
Yeah. A study found that one trait can make you happier for the rest of your life, no matter how old you are.
And that is?
Trusting.
Ah.
They say trusting other people makes us happier, and it gets easier and easier to do. Trusting people makes us happy, and being happy makes us want to trust people. So one leads to the other. They have interviewed people, I guess, who are long-lived, and they said part of this is a circle that goes around, and it just kind of lifts you up. So consider trusting people if you want to feel better and live longer. Fred, did you write that down?
I did. I thought it would have been like forgiving people. I figured that would be. a good
Oh,
one.
yeah.
I think it's all part of it.
You're right.
Trusting you have to forgive if you're going to trust.
Well, that's true.
Good point.
It's just got to be part of it.
And finally, in Sue's News, we have today's random fact, here it is. When Eggos were invented in 1953, they were called Frofels.
Frofels?
For frozen waffles.
Ah, that makes perfect sense.
But people started calling them Eggos because they kind of tasted like eggs. And within 2 years, that became their official name.
Wow.
Kellogg's just said, all right, it's Eggo. And that's how they sold them. And that's it for Sue's News.
There you go. That's Sue's News. Congressman Bob Onder is on the other side of the break. It's Mike Elam for Mark Reardon on 97.1 FM Talk.
Mortgage Bankers Association says the average interest rate for 30-year mortgages dropped to 6.84% from 6.93% last week. Mortgage demand from home buyers dropped 3%, and demand to refinance a home loan dropped by 2%. Ram Trucks plans to introduce an industry-leading warranty across its 2026 vehicle lineup as part of an 18-month turnaround plan. The Stellantis-owned brand says the warranty covers the engine, transmission, and more for 10 years or 100,000 miles, replacing Ram's current 5-year or 60,000-mile warranty. Stocks were mixed today as traders monitored the latest developments in the Middle East. The Dow fell 44 points, the S&P dropped 1, and the Nasdaq gained 25. U.S. crude oil futures for July delivery are largely flat, sitting below $75 a barrel. That's your money now.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Retirement is something that you think of kind of in the future. I think that's what most people do. So we think, okay, we'll save and we'll just save. And then one day retirement is actually visible. And you think, do you have a plan? I just like to understand how things work. So I like the idea of finding things out. How do I reduce taxes? How do I maximize Social Security? What am I supposed to do now that retirement is within sight? Well, I'll tell you what, the fiduciary advisors from Financial and Tax Architects put on a 3-hour adult education class, and it's called Retirement Planning 101. And they talk about all of those things just to give you an expert view and give you an idea of how things work. They do it for free, but they ask that you bring 3 canned goods for a St. Louis Crisis Nursery. You have to register, so call 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Welcome back to RX Watch. This alert is disturbing.
Right. A while back, we learned that companies like Johnson & Johnson use a mineral called talc in baby powder and other products.
And studies show that talc, when used for feminine hygiene, can cause ovarian cancer.
Now listen to this. RX Watch has learned that the talc they use is being mined in China.
Right, and talc mined in China contains heavy metal contaminants like chromium and magnesium, which are known to cause cancer. But China doesn't care.
So China gets the jobs and we get contaminated talc in our baby powder.
And ovarian cancer.
Right. With their specialized tests, the medical team at Onder Law can help you know if your ovarian cancer was caused by talc.
Onder Law has helped women for years with free and confidential consultation. You need to call Onder Law's pharma attorneys at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH, or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
CherryKilling.com.
You're listening to the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
It's Mike Elam sitting in for Mark Reardon today. You know, we were talking about the NBA, that the Lakers are selling the controlling interest, a majority stake in that. I watched a series on Netflix, and Rock, you've probably seen this. It's called Running Point. Have you seen that show?
I have not yet. It's on my list, though.
So it was a fun little show. It was fun to watch, but it was one of those mindless type of. I had a Saturday and I didn't want to do anything, so I sat down and just binge watched through. You ever do that, Sue?
Yeah, that's why I think that people like the streaming. You can kick out a whole series.
I know. It's kind of fun to do that. Hey, you know what's not fun? Watching all of the stuff that's going on between Israel and Iran right now, because you never know what's going to happen next. Congressman Bob Onder is joining us. He is from Missouri's 3rd Congressional District. Congressman, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Great to be back, Mike.
Hey, where do we find you today? You in the district or you in D.C.?
No, I'm back on the East Coast, so much closer to the swamp than back home in the district. Look forward to getting home back to the district in a couple of days here.
Oh, very cool. I was just talking with Krista Montgomery today at lunch. She was at the chamber representing you today.
Well, she always represents me very well. I am blessed with a great team, both in the district, St. Charles, Jeff City, and of course in D.C. So, and they will take care of my constituents regardless.
You do have a good team. They do a nice job. Hey, tell me a little bit about how is the climate in D.C. with everything that's going on with Israel and Iran right now?
Well, yeah, I think there's a widespread recognition that we have a very dangerous situation going on right now. Look, Iran is the number one state sponsor of terrorism in the world. They have a nuclear program. How far along they are toward a nuclear weapon is a matter of debate. Certainly, no doubt that program was set back by Israel's attack Thursday night. And Israel is a longtime enemy of the United States. That being said, Trump was and is actively trying to negotiate a peaceful resolution of the situation. This is Israel's war, not the United States. I don't believe it's in the United States' interest to go to war with Iran. The U.S. record of regime change is not a good one. Going back to Jimmy Carter with Iran in 1979, through the forever wars in Iran, Afghanistan, and Iraq, and then of course Barack Obama's Arab Spring. So I think we always have to do, when we're looking at the foreign stage, we need to look to U.S. interests, and the Middle East is not the only place we have problems on the world stage today. There's Russia, there's China angling for an angle to exert their power. So monitoring this situation very closely, but it's really a scary time.
Well, you guys have a lot on your plate, and I know the big beautiful bill has been a hot topic of conversation. I know the target date was to try to get this done by the 4th of July. Do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah, we are still being told by leadership and the Trump administration that the goal is the 4th of July. That would be good. I don't know if you've noticed this, Mike, whether it's D.C. or Jefferson City, almost everything seems to be done at the 11th hour anyway. Let's shoot for the 4th of July. There are differences between the House and the Senate version of the big, beautiful bill. Some things better on the Senate side and some things less good. I hope we can get the differences worked out. And I would love to have that bill on President Trump's desk by July 4th.
Have you been following the hearings that they're doing about President Biden's mental lapses that have been going on?
Oh, yeah, Mike, this is really extraordinary. I was saying back in 2020, in the summer of 2020, there is a reason why the Democrat Party is keeping Joe Biden in the basement, and it's not COVID, and it's not to keep the ice cream cold. It was clear even back in 2020 that Biden was starting to lose his mental capacity. He was becoming more frail as well. I mean, I think it was by late 21, he would walk off stage and start shaking hands with plants and things. But despite that, in 2021, he did not sign a single executive order. He signed 78 executive orders by hand, all bad executive orders, by the way, but he signed 78 of them by hand. By July of 2022, the rest of 2022, he signed every executive order by auto pen. And in 2025, all 15 of his executive orders were by auto pen. So the question is, who was really running our country? And it appears very clearly, and certainly last summer's debate between President Trump and Joe Biden made it very clear that we were dealing with a man with moderate to severe dementia. There's no way Joe Biden was running the country, and we really are looking at a puppet president with someone, we don't know who, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. And I really also believe, as I've talked to a number of physicians, including urologists, I really do not believe that Joe Biden's advanced prostate cancer was just discovered, a couple of weeks ago. The ultimate chutzpah is Jake Tapper writing a book about how Biden's incapacity was concealed from the American people, while Tapper and everyone in the left-wing media world were all concealing Joe Biden's incapacity from the American people.
You are a unique person in that you are a lawyer and you are also a doctor and an allergy and asthma specialist. You're my allergy doctor. Don't you find it unique that a doctor who is treating the oldest president we have ever had in office wouldn't do a prostate exam? Doesn't that seem strange to you?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, when I was a second-year medical student, we got taught that particular exam was an essential part of a physical exam. We also, these days, for decades now, have screened for prostate cancer with PSA, prostate-specific antigen. Now, prostate cancer can, in theory, be PSA negative, but his is supposedly hormonally sensitive. So it should have been positive. And the other thing is the test that allowed them to know that the cancer was hormonally sensitive. It takes longer to cook in the lab than the time period between when they diagnosed Biden ostensibly and when they announced the result that it was hormonally sensitive. So I believe once again the Biden administration, the Democratic machine, was lying to the American people. And it's not cute. It's not cute when you have a president with a terminal cancer. It's not cute when you have a president with advanced Alzheimer's and they're lying to the American people, telling us everything's okay. This really should be the subject of many hearings. And I really do believe that this was essentially, it was a coup where some third party was running our country. That's a problem. The 25th Amendment should have been invoked, and we should have had a new president by the time Biden was that incapacitated.
I really want to hear from that doctor, and I want to understand how that doctor didn't find that. But that's another show. I want to talk to you before we get out of here about the Supreme Court.
And I believe a lot of other labs would show abnormalities if his prostate cancer is as advanced as it is. And Biden gets those tests regularly. So I think they were cooking the books. They were hiding his medical condition.
You would think so, wouldn't you? I mean, it's tough to explain otherwise. Either the doctor was incompetent or you were cooking the books. It's got to be one of those two things. Either way, you don't come off looking good. Hey, I wanted to play a clip for you real quick. This is Shannon Bream, and she was talking about the Supreme Court's decision upholding the Tennessee ban on the trans surgery for minors. This is
more than
earlier.
24 states have some type of ban on trans treatments for minors. Today, they are celebrating this decision from the Supreme Court, upholding Tennessee's law, saying that it passes constitutional muster and this issue is better left to the people of the states. Writing for the majority, Chief Justice Roberts said, "Our role is not to judge the wisdom, fairness, or logic of the law before us, but only to ensure that it does not violate the equal protection guarantee of the 14th Amendment." And having concluded it does not, we leave questions regarding its policy to the people, their elected representatives, and the democratic process.
Congressman, I know you have been watching this issue very closely. What are your thoughts on this decision today?
Yeah, Mike, I think the Supreme Court absolutely got this one correct. Look, states have long enjoyed the power to regulate medical care. States have long enjoyed the power to protect minors based on their status as minors. And what we're talking about here is a death cult that has groomed a generation of children, many children from a generation of children, such that the rate of children who identify as a gender other than their own, boys who think they are girls or girls who think they're boys, has gone up 10,000%. That's just not us all of a sudden diagnosing a condition that existed all along. These kids are being groomed. And what's even worse is then this transgender industry of quacks and LGBT activists and groomers take these poor kids, often with depression or autism, or maybe they're victims of abuse in their childhood, and they tell them all their problems will be solved, all their mental health issues will be better if only they transition, which means poisonous drugs, blocking puberty, giving them wrong sex hormones, and then starting to do procedures that they euphemistically call top surgery and then bottom surgery. They're scarring and rendering these children infertile for life. So states, including Missouri, including, of course, Tennessee, that was a party to this lawsuit, have taken action to protect children. So the Supreme Court got it right. At the same time, Mike, in the big, beautiful bill, we are defunding transgender clinics, both pediatric transgender clinics and adult transgender clinics, because I think when these clinics do this stuff to adults, even with that adult's consent, it's as much quackery as it is when we do it to kids, and there's no reason our tax dollars should be supporting it.
Well, Congressman, I appreciate you keeping your eye on that, and thank you for spending some time with us today. I know there's a lot going on in D.C., and we just kind of scratched the surface on everything that you're trying to keep a handle on, so we appreciate you doing that. I wish you safe travels back to the district this weekend. It's going to be warm back here.
Yeah, it's warm here too. But yes, thank you for having me. It's great to be with you.
We appreciate the time. That is Missouri's 3rd Congressional District Congressman Bob Onder joining us today. We're going to talk a little fireworks. What should you expect when you go to the fireworks stand over the 4th of July holiday? Chris Sanders from Powder Monkey is going to join us next on the Mark Reardon Show. Mike Elam sitting in for Mark today in 97.1 FM Talk.
Lots of people sitting on the grass with flowers in their heads.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident reported eastbound 70 near Forest Dell, and we've got some slow-moving traffic behind that. Also, debris northbound 55 at Butler Hill. Look for that in the center lane. It's dark colored. I can't tell what it is. Maybe a tire tread. And other than that, we've just got volume. So if you are westbound on 6440, it lines up approaching Kings Highway out past McCausland. We've got 44 slowing in the Shrewsbury area, 55 slowing south of Arsenal down through Revis Barracks. And let's see, looks like 70 westbound out of downtown is a bit of a slow go as well. If you're headed into Illinois, we look fine on the bridges downtown, but 5570 eastbound is a little slow in the construction zone approaching 255. I'm Sue Thomas, and that is traffic. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, 97.1 FM Talk.
Cash for Clunkers is back. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200. It's cash for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Big news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange, and millions like you are joining our news revolution. Newsmax is now the 4th highest rated news channel, just behind CNN. Reuters says we're one of the top news brands in America. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax for shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Rob Finnerty, and more. So download our free Newsmax app on your smartphone or TV and start watching. President Trump says Newsmax is truly terrific. Get the free Newsmax app and check out Newsmax shares on the stock exchange. Go to newsmaxinvest.com. That's newsmaxinvest.com. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such an offer would be unlawful.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
97.1 FM Talk is proud to partner with Guns N' Hoses to support St. Louis area tornado victims, and you can too. Bring non-perishable food items, cleaning products, and other goods to Dave Munganaz St. Louis Honda between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
You're listening to the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
It's Mike Elam for Mark Reardon today. We are joined on the line by Chris Onder, who is the CEO and founder of Powder Monkey Fireworks in Weldon Spring. Chris, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing this afternoon?
Doing well. So I was reading an article in the Post-Dispatch and talking about how the tariffs are affecting the fireworks, because a lot of the fireworks are coming in from China. What has your experience been so far this year, and what should people expect when they go to fireworks stands?
Sure. I mean, we plan each year for 4th of July on July 5th the year before. So we order everything, and that gets made in China, shipped on the ocean and the railroad. Long process of getting it here, but a lot of that happens in February, March, April. And this year, we shipped like 3 containers, and we had to wait until about May 12th whenever the tariffs were reduced in a 90-day pause from 155.3% to 35.3%. Normally, it's a 5.3% ongoing consumer firework tariff all the time, but that was never in the budget for paying 155%, and the 35% will be okay. But there's lots of tents, and there's not a lot of fireworks this year. So the other issue is big suppliers and big firework companies here order in April, May right now for next year, and that production is dedicated to getting us product for this year. So I don't know what next year is going to be like, but China starts making product for Europe. New Year's is big there, and then domestically in China, Chinese New Year in February. There's not a lot of time to make product for the American 250th next year, and we're just going to have to see what happens next year. We got plenty for this year. The prices are right because all the tariffs went high, and then we paused, canceled, and did what we did. But we've got lots of product, and the prices are great. We're going to just follow that high volume, high customer count, great customer service to just power through this year, see what happens next year when it gets there.
So you have enough fireworks to get you through this year, or are people encouraged to come out early because fireworks stands may have a hard time resupplying, or do they have enough to get you through?
I think everybody's wanting to celebrate this year. The 4th is going to be on a Friday, and we open on a Friday. I've done this 25 years. It's only the second time we've had 3 Friday paydays. When people want to come out and shop and do something for the weekend, we've only had the 15-day seasonal sales period fall that way with the 4th on a Friday once in my 25 years because of leap years and whatever. So it should be a big year without all the ongoing everything. And then next year, the 4th is the 250th, and it's on a Saturday, which is the best of any day to have the 4th of July because you get maybe a Monday off or a Friday off, a 4-day weekend, 3-day weekend, whatever it is. So the issue, I think, this year is people are going to buy for this year. They're also going to be buying this year for next year. So, we could run out, and maybe we'll be at the Lake of the Ozark on 4th of July just going out on a boat or something.
So
don't have any product left.
If people want to get their fireworks, they need to get there early, is what I just heard. Is that correct?
Yeah, you want to get there 8 a.m. Friday, June 20th. That's the seasonal sales starting date in Missouri. June 20th is Friday, like 2 days from now. And the weekend will be very busy, I expect. People have been wanting to buy product, but we have to tell them to wait for the opening day. And they would have bought this product we have back in March and April and May. But they've been patiently waiting till June 20th. It's going to be super busy.
Well, that is Chris Sounder of Power Monkey Fireworks. Chris, I appreciate you spending some time with us today, and good luck on the 4th, man.
Thank you, Mike.
We are going to talk to Donna Baringer. She is the City of St. Louis Comptroller on the other side. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Mark Reardon today in 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good afternoon to you. We've got an accident on westbound 70, almost at Salisbury, and that's created a jam back through pretty much the Arch grounds downtown. If you're traveling in that area, it's a slow go. Also, eastbound 5570 lines up approaching 203 due to road work over there. Southbound 55, Slow Pockets Arsenal down through Bates. To the south of there is some moderate volume in the construction zone. just a little bit south. It's not bad. I'm talking about on either side of Highway Z. Now, 44 westbound looking better through Shrewsbury, but we have a jam on southbound 141 headed for 44. And out west, some moderate volume 64 westbound headed for the 70 split. Traffic on eastbound 70 jams in the Wright City area. There was an earlier accident near Forestell that caused a delay. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. From windows and siding to kitchens, baths, and outdoor spaces, they deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, I had a great conversation with Neil Gelman of the Gelman team last week. We were kind of going over the St. Louis market, where it is right now. There's some positives. Certainly, if you're a seller, you can get top dollar. If you are a buyer, you're going to find good opportunities out there. They also have a great tool that's available all the time on their website. If you go to thegelmanteam.com, you'll see a tool that says, how much is your home really worth? Like right now, if you press go. And if you want to press go, they'll take care of you at the Gelman team. If you don't, you just want that number, they're not going to sell your information or anything like that. If you need to sell your home, it's a challenging market. It's very unique. We don't even know when it's going to change again, just because of rates being relatively stable and they're not going down to where a lot of us are when we locked in at 3%. So there's challenges, but you have good news. You have experts on your side. So go to thegelmanteam.com, or you can always call them if you need to get a hold of them. Tell them that you heard about it here on 97.1 FM Talk, 314-336-1991. They do great work here in St. Louis. The Gelman team with eXp Realty, online at thegelmanteam.com.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So, if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than $2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella Window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
KFTK FM Florissant, an Odyssey station.
Degree murder and manslaughter in the death of her Boston police officer boyfriend.
A large crowd gathered outside, cheered for Reed after the verdict was read, and she was only found guilty of driving under the influence. Evidence during trial in part focused on DNA evidence found on Reed's broken taillight that experts said was likely that of Officer John O'Keefe, Reed's Boston police officer boyfriend, who was found dead in the snow outside of a friend's house after a party. Reed's attorneys argued that evidence was likely planted. There was no other evidence that he was hit by a car, and they argued she was framed by police.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Reed was sentenced to a year of probation on the drunk driving charge. The State Department has begun moving some diplomats from the embassy in Israel as the conflict between Israel and Iran heats up. That's according to the Associated Press. This, as President Trump says, there are only two choices on how to handle Iran.
If it's a choice between fighting and
them having a nuclear weapon, you have to do what you have to do.
The president says he has not closed the door on meeting with Iranian officials. The Federal Reserve leaves its key rate unchanged.
The unemployment rate remains low, and the labor market is at or near maximum employment. Inflation has come down a great deal, but has been running somewhat above our 2% longer run objective.
Chair Jerome Powell says he expects inflation to worsen in the coming months, but the Fed still sees 2 interest rate cuts by the end of this year. Wall Street drifts after the decision from the Fed. The Dow lost 44, the Nasdaq added 25, the S&P mostly flat. The State Department is restarting the process for foreigners applying for student visas, but it says all applicants will now be required to unlock their social media accounts for review. And the State Department says consular officers will be on the lookout for posts and messages that could be deemed hostile to the United States. America's listening to Fox News.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
All the thunderstorm action fired way north or way to the east. And that's a good thing because this system's got some mean stuff with it, just not for us. Partly cloudy skies, low 80s for the most part this evening, 69 for the overnight low. Then on Thursday, lots of sunshine, nice summer's day, 85 in the afternoon. Thursday night, clear skies, 68. Friday, sunshine, a little bit warmer in the afternoon, 92. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. You're listening to the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
It's Mike Elam sitting in for Mark Reardon today, and I am very excited to welcome the comptroller for the city of St. Louis, Donna Baringer, to the radio program. Donna, how are you?
I'm great, Mike. How are you?
I'm very good. I don't think, yes, I have talked. I started to say, have I talked to you since you won? Yes, you were at my campaign kickoff. So yes, I did talk to you. And I really appreciate you coming out. I know you have a big event going on tonight. And I'm looking forward to coming down and seeing you when we get off the radio here. I wanted to check in with you. Sue and I were just talking in between during the break here about you coming up, and excited to kind of hear we know what you thought the office of comptroller was when you were running, but we were both curious, what was the reality of the comptroller's office, the state, I should say, of the office when you walked in? Was it what you thought, or was it something that surprised you?
I would have to say it was, I was expecting it, but I wasn't expecting it to be so overwhelming, if that makes sense.
I could see that. Overwhelming in what respect?
In the way of the lack of technology that was being used, not having internet in the office, and then the next thing was which we're almost getting ready to roll out another month, which is what's called contract modules. And it's going to make it so we don't hand sign papers and contracts anymore. So when I got there, there were stacks almost as tall as I am, which isn't very tall because I'm only 5'2", but there were stacks that tall of contracts. I had to hand sign every one of them. And we're talking about it would take at least an hour to get through them.
Wow.
Did you say there was no internet in the office, or were you just meaning there was no e-signing?
Internet.
Wow.
Well, Donna.
How did your office not have internet?
I don't know, but there were some really great electricians who were there that were putting it in on the day I was sworn in.
Wow and wow. Wow.
I would love to hear the story behind, and I'm sure it'll come out at some time, but I'd love to know the story behind of why they didn't put internet in until you showed up. I'm sure there's a really good story to find out about that. Hey, explain to folks who may not be familiar the interesting setup with the comptroller, the mayor, and the president of the board of aldermen, and how that relationship works in running the city of St. Louis.
Well, that's called the Board of Estimate and Apportionment. And you'll hear people say, oh, we have an E&A meeting. And anything that is contractual and has money tied to it has to be voted on through the three members, which is the mayor, the comptroller, and the president of the board of aldermen. And so you have to have at least two of the three to vote in favor or not in favor, depending on which way you're leaning. And then it goes back. So it is where everything starts, including the budget. And so it's a very powerful, I call it the trilogy, because it impacts every aspect, whether it was the Rams money, the ARPA funds, or it's contracts, big contracts with the city. So that's what I tell people. I said it plays a very powerful function.
Yeah, there is an awful lot that is the power that sits in your office. And I've heard an awful lot of people talk about they're excited that Kara Spencer won as the new mayor, but they're even more excited that you won as comptroller, because the two of you could really bring some substantial change to the city of St. Louis. How has that worked so far in your relationship and working with the new mayor?
Well, I have to tell you that the tornado really put us all right out front as to our personality and how we approach things.
I can imagine.
And I told people, yeah, there were points where I would say to the mayor, you have got to go home and get some sleep, because she refused to eat or sleep. She was nonstop out there. She's done everything possible. Look, she went to Jeff City. She got $100 million. I said, on my end, what I did is that I said we need to do emergency work orders through what's called DocuSign, right? Online.
Yeah.
And I did that because I wanted to make sure that if we needed to buy chainsaws, if we needed to do the contracts to get people in to come and take the trees down or move the trees, that it didn't matter if it was 2:00 in the morning or 5:00 in the morning, but I could just literally get on my phone and I could DocuSign so we could make sure we could get the contractors in there to help the people.
So how has the cleanup gone so far? I mean, it's just a monumental task, obviously, that you both walked into pretty much as soon as you got in office.
Yes, I have to say, once again, I could not be prouder of everyone, whether it's, the streets department, whether it's the volunteers, the urban league, the mayor, the president of the board of aldermen. Everyone has stepped up. It has an unfortunate situation has brought us all into unity, because we all have put this as the forefront, and the people of North City have been at the forefront. And that to me is unbelievable. Everyone, whether it's corporations, the governor, the senators, everyone has stepped up to the plate. And it's just been unbelievable to see everyone cares. And you can't question that at all.
I will tell you, last month was the first month at East West Gateway that the new mayor joined us. And around the table from around the region, everyone gave her a round of applause for the great job that she has done in responding to the tornado. Because like you said, she's been there. And when some things didn't happen right, she didn't run away from it. She stood there and she said, look, this was a failure. This is going to get fixed. I accept full responsibility for this, and this is how we're going to move forward. And I think that really speaks a lot to her character and to what you're talking about, is it's standing there and really addressing the problem.
Yes, and I feel the same way. If I make a mistake, I'm going to own it. If I see a problem, I'm going to fix it, not just fix it like a Band-Aid, as in so it doesn't happen again. And that's, I think, what we're all thinking. And that makes a big difference on how you run a government.
Yes.
Well, obviously, you walked into this, and then the tornado happened shortly after you got there. You probably haven't had a lot of time to look at long term what you want to do over the course of your first term in office. But where do you sit right now on what you want to accomplish, and how do you think that's going to move forward?
So I had said when I was running for this office that there were two things that were very important to me, near and dear to me, and one is the airport. And we're looking at having to, at least have $2 billion to build a state-of-the-art one airport. And I want that to happen. That will help our region grow. That helps us phenomenally. So I'm on the airport commission, and I'm looking at other airports. I'm finding out, the return on investment. We have
I think we lost you. Did we
do that? And
we lost you.
We are going to.
We lost you there for just a second. You were looking at other airports is the last thing I heard from you.
Okay. Yes. I've been looking at other airports to see how when they redid their airports, what were their best practices? What were the mistakes they made that they've learned from that we won't make, and find out how do we build the best airport for the city of St. Louis, and make sure I'm there at the table, and make sure I'm trying to get help, whether it's in DC or in Jefferson City, if we need the funding help. But that's number one. The other thing is getting tourists and conferences to come to downtown St. Louis. In order to do that, we're about to build on 7th Street a pedestrian-only road that will take you all the way to Ballpark Village. And that will make it safe, because when you have, like, if you look at Nashville, Broadway is their street. When you go to NOLA, it's Bourbon Street. You have an area that is very geared towards tourism and conferences. And that's what St. Louis needs to look at when they're looking at downtown St. Louis, because that's a designated stream of revenue and taxes that it generates.
I haven't heard anything about that street. That is news to me. What is?
Yeah, the Cardinals are doing that. Believe it or not, the Cardinals are doing it. So they're making it so if you were at the convention center, you could walk from the convention center straight to the ballpark, and it's a solid street that will not have cars on it anymore. It'll be walkable. Yeah. And I said, anything I can do to fast track that, let me know, because this is important, and I'm very, I'm excited that the Cardinals are doing this.
Well, if they're doing that, Donna, and I know that this really doesn't relate particularly to your office, but police, hello, safety. Do you think it's a possibility? Will she hire more police officers? Because that's a huge concern.
It is. And what I'm hoping, and, as you mentioned, when you went into your meeting, people were applauding. I feel there's a new aura around the city of St. Louis. I feel people feel things are going to get better. So instead of being more negative, I think we're having more positive. And that positive attracts people. And it'll keep, instead of someone saying, oh, I wouldn't want to live in a city, or I wouldn't want to do this, it's more about, wow, I see some changes. I see a difference. I want to be a part of that feeling. And I think that'll help in recruiting police officers. And then I also, this is already found and is proven. The more eyes there are, the less crime happens. So if you have nobody on your downtown streets, then you're more likely to have crime. If your downtown streets are full of people, you won't have the crime because you have too many witnesses.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, I know I was having a conversation with one of your young officers the other day, and I was asking about, the state takeover of the police department, and asking how did they feel about that. And he said that his sense in talking to his fellow officers is there is a real sense of optimism, like what you were talking about.
Good.
Within the officers themselves, they really feel like they are going to be empowered to do their job and to really enforce safety. So it seems to be the spirit that you were talking about within the city itself is really starting to take hold, and hopefully is going to show some promise here soon.
Mm-hmm. I believe that, and people are feeling it, and so we just need to keep on that wave and that feeling, and things. I just know they're going to turn around. I have nothing but positive, and I see a great future for the city.
So, what do you think that we could do as a region to do the most to help the city right now? How could the region be the most helpful to the city?
Well, number one, I love the fact that people are on social media showing all the volunteering, reaching out, helping the people who have lost almost everything from the tornado, posting positive things. I love seeing the pictures that people are posting of great things in the past that have happened, in St. Louis. So I tell people, I said, just keep that vibe going. Just keep the vibe going, and everything else will fall into place. It really will. because if everyone's saying, wow, that's really cool, or I can't believe you did that, it oozes out into everything. It really does. It just overflows.
Well, I know you're busy, so I appreciate you making some time and talking with us. And I look forward to seeing you later on this evening. And best of luck. I know there's an awful lot of people that are pulling for you. They're pulling for the new mayor because as a region, I was just in a meeting in St. Charles County earlier this week. And as a region, we are all holding a good thought for the city because we know as the city goes, so goes our region. And we need the city to be as successful as you and the new mayor are hoping it's going to be. So we wish you the very best, and we're all pulling for you.
All right. Thank you so much.
That is Donna Baringer. She is the comptroller for the city of St. Louis. I'm cautiously optimistic. Sue, how's that?
Same, exact same.
I think we're all kind of at that point where we need things to go well in the city because we need things to go well in the region.
Yep.
I was in a meeting earlier, like I was kind of talking about, where people were talking about the fact that, and this was with folks from around the state who were in the meeting, and everybody from around the state was talking about, we recognize, even though we don't like it, as goes the St. Louis region, so goes the state of Missouri. And Mike Kehoe right now, as a matter of fact, is in France. And he is on a trade mission in Europe, specifically in France, trying to get some trade deals going on through the state of Missouri and to French and to Europe as a whole. So hopefully we're going to see an expanded economy and things continue to go well. But obviously, to get people to look at investing in the city of St. Louis or in the St. Louis region as a whole, we've got to have a good story going on in the city of St. Louis. So if you're streaming right now, you can see that poster that's right behind my head that says support our St. Louis tornado victims. And I think Donna really talked about the fact of you've seen some really great outreach of people, and you see it a lot in the St. Louis area. Whenever a tragedy hits here, we've got a lot of folks who just step up, they go the extra mile, and they really do things to help those who are in need.
Yes.
So we appreciate Donna's time. We are going to talk with the Missouri Treasurer, Vivek Malek, a little bit later on this hour. I got the opportunity to talk with him this weekend. There is an awful lot of money and property that he is holding on to that he wants to give to you. That's right. There's unclaimed property, there's unclaimed money, and he would like to help you get yours back. We'll talk to him a little bit later on this hour. My name is Mike Elam, sitting in for Mark Reardon today on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM.
July's dressed up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got an incident with emergency vehicles eastbound 270 at 170. The center lanes are blocked. That's leaving only the right and left lane through, and that, of course, is causing a jam. The other jam is westbound 70 past the airport, where the left lanes are blocked by an accident. Accident on westbound 70 at Salisbury, causing a delay back to the Arch grounds, and westbound 6440 lining up near Kings Highway out past McCausland. This report brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Martins came over, we were having spaghetti when we suddenly noticed that we started getting sweaty. So we grabbed the keys and we ate it in the van. That's what my friend said. Call Jerry Kelly, man, JerryKelly.com. Give him a call, even though it's late. JerryKelly.com.
Raise your hand if your power went out here in the last couple of months in St. Louis. If you're driving, do not do that. But if your power did go out, do you have a generator? How about a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator? They're the best in the industry from Generator Supercenter right here in St. Louis. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. I've mentioned that I know this brand from way back when I lived in Milwaukee because they're located up there. Generator Supercenter is top notch. All the installations are permitted and code compliant. I like to mention that because they use copper wire. A lot of the competitors, you have HVAC guys and others that do generators. This is all they do, right? They sell, they install, they maintain, they monitor Generac automatic standby generators, certified service maintenance, warranty work. A lot of competitors won't offer that. So if you need a Generac home standby generator, Generator Supercenter can help you out. Give yourself peace of mind. There's financing available. A free estimate is just a phone call away, or you can stop by the store in Chesterfield if you'd like to. Generator Supercenter Supercenter of St. Louis, 314-499-2020. The website, generatorsupercenterofstlouis.com.
One of the things with running is I want to enjoy the run, but I never made it very far because the arches in my feet just killed me. So when I got to the end of my rope and I said, I have to do something to get rid of the pain, and a couple of people recommended the Good Feet store to me. I loved how I could go in and get a free personalized arch support fitting. They put that time, that work, that effort into helping you find the right arch supports. And you can walk around the store with these in your shoes and try them out before you purchase them. So after I got my arch supports, the arches on my feet stopped hurting and the pain instantly, literally instantly went away. So if you have pain, go. Find a Good Feet store and go. There is an answer. Find the simple solution that will get rid of your pain. I'm Rondi, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how Good Feet arch supports work for you before you buy with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
So if you were going to put me in and go play center field, you got a little more time. Actually, you can watch the Arkansas LSU College World Series game tonight, which guess where I'm pulling on that one? How did you know?
I just had a feeling.
Yeah, I'm a Razorback kind of guy. So our pitcher actually had a no-hitter the other day in the College World Series. First one since 1960. He almost had a perfect game, but he hit a guy. If he hadn't hit a guy, he could have actually made it.
I'd argue he hit 2 guys, but we don't need to get into that.
Well, okay. So I'm telling you that you get some time to wait because the Cardinal game got rained out for tonight. So the Cardinals are not going to be playing tonight. They are going to play a doubleheader tomorrow. So you're going to have that coming up. If you're planning on watching the game, it's time to make some other plans tonight. You can watch a college game instead. Tomorrow is instead of somebody like me filling in for Mark Reardon, we're doing the best of Mark Reardon tomorrow. I don't know how you go through all those clips and narrow it down for the best of Mark. I mean, there's so much to choose from that you're going to be able to pick. So that's going on tomorrow. Everybody's going to be off. They get the holiday off. Tomorrow is Juneteenth. I don't know if you're celebrating or not, but a lot of people have that off. It's a federal holiday, if nothing else, so you're not going to get mail. There is that's going to happen. On Friday, Brad Young is coming back in. On the roundtable on Friday, John Gaskin, Ted House, and Gene Evans are all going to be joining Brad for the roundtable on Friday. So that is coming up. I was talking with Bob Onder earlier, and we were talking a little bit about Joe Biden and talking about the investigation that has been going on and trying to look at who was actually running the government. And I know some people have said, hey, move on. Who cares? He's done. That's over. But I think the bigger question is, how do you get away with that, right? How is that able to happen? And can we put things in place to make sure that that doesn't happen again? And the audio that came out, which is cut 3, by the way, that we're going to listen to. This is, if you haven't heard it, it's the audio of Joe Biden when he was doing the interview or when he was being investigated for the documents that were in his garage next to his Corvette, and they were securely in because the garage door was closed. Right. So Trump's going to get prosecuted, but his documents were safe because the garage door were closed next to the vet. This is the audio of what it sounded like when he was answering those questions.
When did I stop being vice president? 2017. Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area? Yes, sir. Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying. What was happening, though, 1 month ago died. May 30th, 2018.
He's just completely lost and can't remember dates. He can't remember names. If you listen to that whole audio, it makes you wonder, man, how bad was this really? If you got him away from the teleprompter, how bad were things? But then you had all of these folks who were going through and covering up for him and telling, no, remember all those clips about he was running laps around the behind closed doors. Joe Biden was the sharpest tool in the shed, man. Nobody else could hold a candle to him. And Peppermint Patty was talking about how she couldn't keep up with him. He had so much energy that he was just running circles around the staff. And you're like, wow. I find that really hard to believe. And now he's out of office. They all start writing books and start saying, hey, here's what's going on. And KJP has come out, and now she's not even a Democrat anymore because she's turned on Biden, and she knew she had to go independent because the Democrats were going to come for her with pitchforks. That's pretty much how that whole thing was going to work. Well, Dick Durbin, when we started talking about the auto pen, cut 7, this is what Dick Durbin had to say about where this investigation should go.
We have so many important topics to consider, and that is a totally political undertaking by several of my colleagues. It is a waste of this committee's time.
Now, Eric Schmidt has a little different take on this, and this is cut 8.
I think it'll be important to understand what happens in a White House scenario, what should have been called out. I think members of the media were complicit, and certainly a lot of people were, because they were more interested in making sure Donald Trump never made it back into the Oval Office than they were actually reporting on the decline.
Congressman Onder was talking earlier about all the things that were signed by AutoPen and how that worked. And Eric Schmidt went on to say this about that.
The title of the hearing, Unfit to Serve, captures a sobering and undeniable truth. President Biden was mentally unfit to carry out the responsibilities of the most powerful office in the world. Given his mental incapacity, the American people deserve to know who's running the country the last 4 years. Under President Biden, AutoPen became a symbol of an absentee president and an executive branch directed by nameless, faceless aides that no one outside of Washington, D.C. had ever heard of and no one ever voted for.
And I think that's the bigger thing of why everybody keeps looking at this and they keep talking about it. They're trying to figure out, hey, man, how do we stop this from happening again and make sure that we don't end up in another situation like this? There are ways to get out of it, but none of those levers got pulled. And I think that's the bigger question of why didn't any of those levers get pulled? And it's going to be interesting to see how all that shakes out. Now, we talked earlier about property. You may have some money. You may have some. And Vivek Malek wants to give it back to you. Our Missouri State Treasurer is joining us on the other side of the break. It's the Mark Reardon Show. My name is Mike Elam, sitting in for Mark today on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident westbound 70 near Salisbury, and that's created a jam behind it, and that goes right in front of the arch. And now we've got a report of an accident eastbound 44 just past the Poplar Street Bridge. Slow-moving traffic there. Accident reported on southbound 170, or is it the Forest Park? Nope, it's southbound 170 near the Forest Park Parkway. Now, they've cleared the accident westbound 70 in front of the airport, Lambert Airport, and they've cleared the incident from the center lanes eastbound 270 at 170. hopefully that will improve soon. On the Illinois side, a jam eastbound 5570 headed for 255 in the construction zone. This report brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Point Pest Control is reminding you it's time to spray for mosquitoes. How can something that tiny interrupt your outside gatherings? Have Point Pest Control spray today so your next outside gathering is mosquito-free. 636-798-0023. Mention Annie to save an additional 10%. PointPestControl.com.
Hey, here on my show and really overall on 97.1 FM Talk, we try to guide you into good people for situations that you might be dealing with. And divorce is not a fun situation. I've had a couple of friends even recently who have gone through it. You know, it's going to seem like another lifetime ago soon enough. It will seem like that better and faster if you have competent help with experience on your side. That's the law offices of Susan L. Ward. And by the way, speaking of offices, she's got a brand new office located in De Pere near 270 Manchester. They're very proud of that. She has an awesome team here in St. Louis that can help you with not only divorce, the end of a marriage, but a lot of things that happen in the aftermath, whether it's issues relating to parenting plans or grandparenting plans. You know, look, they do domestic partnerships and things along those lines as well. Domestic violence, that's a tough area of the law, but Susan covers it from top to bottom. She's rated AV preeminent by Martindale-Hubbell. That's a rating given to her by her other lawyers, by her peers. She also has the distinction of being the youngest family law attorney in Missouri to get that distinction. So the website has everything that you could need. It's stlfamilylaw.com. The number at that great new location, 314-783-9400. The focus on family law, the emphasis on you, Susan L. Ward.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
There's an evil new twist in the tragic story of baby powder and its link to ovarian cancer. Recently uncovered documents reveal that talc can contain asbestos.
The same asbestos that we know causes mesothelioma.
Right, and ovarian cancer.
In the 1970s, the industry wrote its own rules, allowing Johnson & Johnson to claim that its talc was asbestos-free, as long as it contained less than 1% asbestos.
Of course, Johnson & Johnson helped write those rules. So while we're using hazmat suits to remove the asbestos from our homes, Johnson & Johnson was telling women it's safe for their bodies.
Unbelievable. So if you've used talcum powder for feminine hygiene and contracted ovarian cancer, call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
They've already won several large verdicts against Johnson & Johnson for women just like you.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH. That's 1-800-RX-WATCH or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-472-0467. 800-472-0467. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-472-0467.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The time is 5:34. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
So I had the opportunity this weekend to MC the Lincoln Days event up in Lincoln County, as I talked about earlier today. And Vivek Malek, our Missouri State Treasurer, was the featured speaker who was there, and he is joining us on the guest line today. Mr. Treasurer, how are you, sir?
Good afternoon. I'm great. Thank you very much for taking me on the show.
No, I appreciate you making the time. I know you're super busy with everything that's going on, and was enjoying what you were talking about Saturday night. And I thought, man, this is a message we need to get out to people, because you have been out there beating the bushes, trying to give people their money back. I'm sure everybody would love to have it, but they may not know that it's actually there for them. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to come on and just kind of talk a little bit about what's going on in the Treasurer's office and a lot of the great things that you have been doing there. But unclaimed property is a big one that you've been talking about.
Absolutely. So 3 years in a row, we have broken every past year's record, and I am very happy to share this news with you. Just this Friday, I was told by my staff that we have beaten the record of last year, and that was 56 million, a little over 56 million. And we have crossed that mark, and we have a few more days to go before the end of this year, and we will be breaking that past year's record again. So just to give you a snapshot of the time when I took office in 2023 January, the amount that was given from unclaimed property was 42 million, and we are crossing 56 million in 3 years. So that's a great number, and we will be reaching out for more and reaching out to more and more people, making sure that they get access to their money, which is sitting in my office, which is not doing anybody any good. And they need to get on to showmemoney.com and look for their name, their last name, their neighbor's name, their friend's name, relative's name, parent's name, and get that money. So I say to every Missourian, come get your money.
You know what? I have done this. When the last time you were in and talked about this, and I love it. I think I got $35, but you know what?
Awesome.
That's a meal.
It's money.
And the fact that so then I look up everybody I know and email them, and because it's like found money. It's just kind of fun to look it up. Even if you don't get something, you go, ooh, I know so-and-so. Maybe I'll let them know. It's awesome.
That is my favorite pastime. I just get onto my phone whenever I have some downtime. I just start looking up people who I met that week, and I make a list, and I then send them a text message that you have some money, please claim it. And I think this is a great way to connect with people. If you haven't talked to any friend for some amount of time, I think you look them up. If you find some money, you say, you buy me a coffee, I'll get you some free money.
Love it.
How do people end up with this money sitting out there? I know you gave one example that's kind of the exception to the rule that was almost $1 million, but more to the point, I think it's probably going to be, Sue is probably going to be closer to the normal case, right? It's going to be like, how does that money end up there?
So just some facts about it. Every 1 out of 10 Missourian has unclaimed property, and the average payout is about $300. So it's not small money. So you will see probably not the exact amount unless it is less than $50. If it is over $50 on the website, you'll see over $50, and it could be anything. And how it ends up here is through various ways. If you have overpaid your utility bill, if you have had your rent money or a deposit that was supposed to go to you, but the landlord didn't have the money, didn't have your address, that money would end up with us. If it's a claim from a class action lawsuit, which you do not know if you're part of it or not, that money will also end up in claims with us, and you will have access to that. We will not be able to tell you exactly where it is coming from, but you will get that money. So It is surprise money, yes.
I have another question. Can I do this for someone else? Can I do it for my husband, who will say, I'm not doing that for $15, but I could do it for several that he's got? Or do you have to, it has to be the person?
No, you can do it for somebody else as long as you have their information.
Okay.
And you can do it for your parents, for your deceased parents, for your grandparents, as long as you're able to provide the documentation required, which is basically birth certificate to show your relationships with them. Or if it's a separate couple, they'll have to produce a divorce decree or something of that sort. In that case, the other person will have to sign also.
Okay.
And how do people find out again? What's the address that they go to?
Show Me Money, just like our state, Show Me State, showmemoney.com.
Showmemoney.com. It's that easy, and then they can find that. Hey, I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about the divestiture that you have made for our funds in Missouri to get them away from places like Chinese investments. And you have moved that money, and now we are no longer tied to China.
Yes, that is true. And that has been my campaign promise that I will not be letting China have a single penny of Missourians' dollars, Missourians' money. And that's what I have been working on. The first year in 2023, we divested Mosher's, which is the Missouri State Employees Retirement Fund, from China. And then I took that further in the legislature, got a bill passed called FADA, Foreign Adversary Divestment Act, which will encourage all these pension funds across the state, which are about 128 of them, to divest money that is invested in China. In addition to that, we negotiated hard with Vanguard, which is the second largest investment firm, which holds about $10.5 trillion in U.S. assets and manages U.S. assets of that amount, to launch a new exchange trade fund, ETF, with ex-China. That means it will not have any exposure to China. So people will have, both from the private industry and from the public sector, to invest in that ETF where they will not be exposed to China, because we need to make sure we are not invested in China for several reasons. Not only that their audit system is opaque, we don't know what they are doing. It is a security threat to the United States, and it is the biggest adversary at this time. So why we should be funding our adversary? And the public sentiment at this time, over 70% is against China. And with the tariff war, we have seen that how they have come to us, that they are not willing to negotiate on things. So there is no reason for us to be putting our money in China. And if they ever decide to go after Taiwan, which the intelligence sources say that they are going to do that sometime, if they do that, our money that is invested in China will be frozen, and we will lose all that investment. So we don't need to be in those markets where our money is in harm's way.
We're talking with Missouri State Treasurer Vivek Malek, and one of the things you talked about on Saturday night that I think a lot of people, they know about probably, but they don't understand the full breadth of that, is Missouri Most 529 savings account program. Because most people know that as a college savings account, but you talked about the fact that you can use that for a lot of different things, can't you?
Absolutely. The 529 is a great program, and we have a wonderful program in Missouri by the name MOST, which is Missouri State Treasurer's 529. And when I took office, we had about 180,000 accounts. We are touching about 200,000 accounts in that. We grew that program from a total asset value of $3.8 billion to over $4.5 billion.
Wow.
And that is a program that is not only for college education for your kids and grandkids, but you can utilize that money that you invest in that, put whatever amount you put every month, that just not only stays there, but grows over time as an investment. And any growth in that account is federal tax dollar free. Not only that, you get up to $16,000 tax deduction that you can claim on your state taxes every year as a married couple, or $8,000 as a single parent. And that is probably the only safe tax haven that I know of where you can secure that amount of deductions. And you can utilize that money not only for college, you can utilize it for sending your kids from K through 12 to a private school. And you can route that money through 529 and utilize the tax deduction. And you can use it for apprenticeship, internship, anything that is related to education. So it's a great, great program. And I urge everybody to look into the MOST 529 program and start investing in your kids' future and grandkids' future, because they are the ones who are going to hold the reins for our country. And we need to make sure that Missouri kids are strong and competitive when it comes time for them to take the reins of our great nation.
You know, I knew about the program, but I didn't know that, you were up to $16,000 a year. I guess that number has continued to grow every year to where they keep moving it up, because it used to be around 8,000 to 10,000. I think, and it just keeps growing. But to be able to use it for all those different resources, I think is amazing. And I appreciate everything that you have done in the time that you've been treasurer for here in the state of Missouri. And Sue, I found out I have 29 cents.
See, 29 cents?
29 cents.
I just looked up my friend Maria at KMOX. She's got 37 cents. But I think Michael, he's got $41. I'm going for it.
Oh, Vivek, she's going to take... She's going to take her husband's money.
Yep. $41, people.
That's good. That's good. But 39 cents, I would let it stay there for a while till you get some more money, because it will cost me more money to send that back to you.
That's fair.
We got to
totally
figure
fair.
out. We got to figure out how to do some blockchain transactions to cut that down, so you don't have those transaction fees, man. We'll make that work.
That's right. And here's another thing I would say. If you find some money, some decent money, even $50, $25, whatever you find, if you do not have a 529 account for your kids or grandkids, use that money, because you just found that money that you didn't know of. So use that money to start a 529 account with that.
That is
you are going to give a gift to your kid or grandkid that he will cherish and will be grateful for you for that.
I think that's a great idea. Hey, thank you for making the time today. I know you're super busy, so I really appreciate you spending the time. If anybody doesn't know your life story, they really need to get to know it, because you are an incredible person. The state of Missouri is very lucky to have you as our treasurer, and I really appreciate the time that you gave us today.
Thank you, Mike. And again, come get your money at showmemoney.com.
Showmemoney.com. I appreciate that. That is Vivek Malek. He is your Missouri State Treasurer, and he's got some money online that he wants to give back to you. So go get that. We are going to do our cut of a day as we wrap up. It's Mike Elam sitting in for Mark Reardon today on St. Louis's home for conservative talk and helping you find money. 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, it looks like we've just had an accident reported, and this one is westbound 70, a little bit past 170. They've got the right lane and the right shoulder blocked through there, so be careful. Now, there was a stall eastbound 270 past Lindbergh in the left lane, and that created a slow go up there. But things have been cleared eastbound 270 at 170, and that looks better. Now, we've got an accident reported downtown, eastbound 44, almost directly under the Poplar Street Bridge. That's created a jam back onto 55. And there was an accident westbound 70 near Salisbury, a delay there, and an accident near Forest Park Parkway near the Interbelt. So slow-moving traffic there. If you are headed into Illinois, eastbound 5570, slowing at 203 due to road work. Back on the Missouri side, westbound 64, there was an accident reported past Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and that has created a jam. This report brought to you by New Perspective Senior Living. New Perspective Weldon Spring is redefining senior living. They've got modern apartments, delicious meals, activities, entertainment, even a state-of-the-art AI fall detection system. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, let's make this the summer that you really do something special for your home, and that could include the help of Banner Construction. They do great work here in St. Louis. They've been around for 30-plus years. Oh, by the way, they're looking for carpenters right now. So if you are a carpenter and you need a gig, get with Banner Construction. I'll give you the details on that here in just a couple of seconds. But they really specialize in two great products. James Hardy Fiber Cement Siding, which is amazing. If you put it on your home, you're going to be blown away. Your neighbors will be blown away. It looks great. There's not a lot of maintenance. There's different options and different styles and different textures, and they can walk you through all that. It's a free in-home design consultation. The other thing they specialize in, and Pella Windows, it's awesome. They're celebrating 100 years in business. They started way back in 1925. They put a lot of their trust into Banner Construction, and you should too. So if you need new windows, if you need new siding, if you're a carpenter who needs a new gig, Banner Construction. Here's how you get a hold of them: 314-569-1050, 569-1050, the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
And now, a no-frills ad brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Here it is. You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's it. See? Just a good old-fashioned, straightforward ad. See if you could save at Progressive.com.
The Annie Fry Show.
When Arnold Schwarzenegger gets almost immigrant shamed by the ladies of The View. Can you believe it?
When you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest.
The Annie Fry Show. Weekdays from noon to 3.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
So it's Mike Elam sitting in for Mark Reardon today. We are getting ready to wrap up the big award-winning show, and we've got our audio cut of the day coming up in just a second. Vivek Malek was just on with us, and LaserDog80 says he's found close to $100 that's in there that he's going to go get it. Show me money.
Awesome.
There you go, man. Go get your money. That's better than the 29 cents that I have. But
yes.
that's how it's going to go. You just heard in the Annie Fry promo there, she was talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger. And if you didn't hear it yet, Arnold Schwarzenegger was on The View. Does anybody watch Gutfeld, by the way? So I love watching Gutfeld. I think his show on Fox is hilariously funny. He throws the ladies on The View under the bus on a regular basis. And it's well worth it. But that is where we are getting our audio cut of the day today.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
So they wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger to jump in on this whole Trump is picking up migrants off the street and throwing them in prison. But Arnold Schwarzenegger had a very different take on the whole situation.
You're an immigrant in this country.
Yeah.
Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant, I'm so proud and happy.
Mm-hmm.
But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, So you got to do things legal. And those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest. Mm-hmm. And you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can. Keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America.
So there you go. Arnold Schwarzenegger not jumping in on the whole, we're going to pile on ICE. He actually had a completely
I can't
different
imagine that they thought he was going to say something else, but okay.
I don't know where they thought he was going to go with this, but you appreciate the fact, and Vivek Malek was talking at the event on Saturday night about it took him 17 years to become a U.S. citizen.
17 years.
17 years. So he did it the right way.
Yeah.
And he said, folks like me want you to do it the right way. I want
Yep.
you to have a fantastic evening. We're going to have the best of Mark Reardon tomorrow. Brad Young will be back here on Friday with the Roundtable. My name is Mike Elam. It's been my pleasure to sit with you today. Sue, it's always good to see you.
Great to see you.
Rock, thanks for taking great care of me, and we'll see y'all later.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We do have a couple of issues out there. If you are westbound on 6440, there was an accident reported near Prospect, and that has created a jam back through Highway N. We've got some volume on westbound 70. There was an accident approaching Salisbury, and an accident eastbound 44 near the Poplar Street Bridge, causing delays. We also have some volume southbound 270 at 70. And westbound 40, just moderate volume from Hampton out through McCausland. On the Illinois side, it's very quiet on the bridges downtown. That actually looks good. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Cash for Clunkers is back. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200. It's cash for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
I want to talk about New Perspective Senior Living. At New Perspective, if you're thinking about a big change, they're going to make it less overwhelming. It might change your whole view. It's a brand new senior living community. It's on Seton Top Road in Weldon Spring. It's stunning. Now, look, they've thought of everything, all the beautiful apartments, chef-prepared meals,